there is an emerging perspective to this Nnamdi Kanu's matter, because there's this perspective that Nnamdi Kanu is not really the one that has been sentenced to life imprisonment. That Nnamdi Kanu is not really the one, but Ndigbo, the Igbos. And this is very, very important that the eyes of the people should be open. That Nnamdi Kanu is there representing people, representing a group, not just himself. So if he is put in detention, life imprisonment, or anything happens to him, it is happening to Ndigbo, not just to Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu, Ndigbo sentenced to life imprisonment in Nigeria, not just Nnamdi Kanu. And it is MASSOB. MASSOB has come out to say that it is not just about Nnamdi Kanu, that this case is beyond Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let's focus on it. This is Noble Media. If you have not subscribed, click on subscribe now. The movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra. The movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, MASSOB, has rejected a court judgment that sentenced the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, describing it as unjust and politically motivated. MASSOB is bold enough. They did not hide face. They came out bold. You know, some Igbo leaders, some Igbo influencer businessmen have not been talking. They have been hiding their face. They are protecting themselves. They are not speaking out. But MASSOB spoke out and said that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu is unjust and politically motivated. Let's move on. In a statement issued on Friday, MASSOB leader, Friday, that is a day after that judgment on 20th. In a day issued on Friday, that is 21st of November 2025, MASSOB leader Comrade Uche Nnamdi said the ruling delivered by Justice James Omotosho are now amounted to a life imprisonment sentence on Ndigbo in Nigeria. A life imprisonment sentence on Ndigbo in Nigeria. A life imprisonment. I hope Igbo people see it this way. Are you seeing it this way? Please, somebody come under the comment of this video and say, Tinubu be man enough. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu. Tinubu, you can still do it. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu. Somebody type, nothing must happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nothing must happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. A life imprisonment sentence on Ndigbo in Nigeria, insisting that the decision was fueled by prejudice and targeted discrimination. And many people believe that this is what the Igbos have been suffering in Nigeria. That Ndigbo has been suffering prejudice. There is this prejudice against the Igbos. There is this prejudice against Ndigbo. Madu alleged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration had set Nigeria on an irredeemable path. The way Tinubu is going, the way Nigeria is going under APC, under Tinubu, is a path that cannot be redeemed. That's why some people still believe in one Nigeria. Some other people believe that the country cannot be redeemed, that the country has spoiled irredeemably. That the country has spoiled to a point that there can be no redemption for Nigeria. In fact, some people say that Nigeria can never be good again. Where do you stand? Are you among those that believe that if maybe something happens, if Peter Obi becomes the president or something, Nigeria can be better? Or do you think that the way Nigeria is going, the way the country is going, there may be no redemption again for Nigeria? Madu alleged that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration had set Nigeria on an irredeemable path with that judgment on Nnamdi Kanu, claiming that the court's ruling represented vengeance rather than justice. That the Omotosho just sentenced Nnamdi Kanu out of vengeance, out of retribution, out of anger, out of prejudice, out of discrimination because of his tribe. He criticized the conduct of the presiding judge. Since that judgment, everybody has been criticizing Omotosho. There are also people that believe that Nnamdi Kanu deserve to be sentenced, that he even deserve to die. Tell us where you belong. Tell us what you think in all this. He criticized the conduct of the presiding judge, accusing him of bias, accusing the judge of bias and tribal sentiment in delivering the verdict. MASSOB also argued that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was wrongfully prosecuted and under a repealed anti-terrorism law. This is what Nnamdi Kanu has always been talking about. Under a law that no longer existed, under a law that is now null and void, that has been nullified. How can you stand on such a quashed law to hold Nnamdi Kanu? The group further recalled that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was illegally rendered from Kenya. People think that this is, people have called it what it is. People call it abduction. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was illegally abducted from Kenya in 2021, citing a ruling by Kenyan High Court. Justice Anthony Nrema in June 2025, which held that the operation violated his fundamental rights. A court in Kenya already ruled that the way Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped and brought into an extraordinary rendition into Nigeria was a violation of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's rights. Everybody knows this. A senator in America yesterday already cited that the way Nnamdi Kanu is being treated was sentenced is a proof that Christians in Nigeria are not safe. Please, you watching this video, share this video and type "nothing must happen to Nnamdi Kanu." Please, somebody comment it. Drop it. Everybody watching this video, drop a comment typing "nothing must happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu." Nothing must happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. MASSOB also referenced opinions by the United Nations Working Group on arbitrary detention in 2022 and 2025, which classified Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's detention as arbitrary and called for his release. United Nations Working Group already came out openly to call the way Nnamdi Kanu is being held as arbitrary, and United Nations already called for his release. You can see the trouble that Tinubu is in for this action that has been taken under his administration. MASSOB contrasted Kanu's sentencing with that of Maman No, a Boko Haram co-founder linked to mass eliminations, who reportedly received a 5-year prison term, arguing that the disparity reflects deep injustice in Nigeria's judicial system. You will catch a Boko Haram person, sentence him for 5 years, and you will catch Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and sentence him for life. Who does that? Please, somebody type "Biafra must never die. Nothing must happen to Nnamdi Kanu." Tinubu and Omotosho, nothing must happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We must move on. The group, that is MASSOB, noted that the United States has not designated IPOB as a terrorist organization, pointing to repeated classification by the United States Department since 2017. In fact, a court in Nigeria, I think in 2017, removed that, declared that IPOB cannot and is not a terrorist organization in Nigeria. But of course, the APC government doesn't obey, they don't listen, they do whatever they like, describing the judgment as a collective attack on Ndigbo. MASSOB said, "This injustice is not only against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, it is against Ndigbo. Ndigbo have been sentenced to life imprisonment in Nigeria. Ndigbo have been, sometimes I pity those that are within Nigeria, that are down there in Nigeria, with all the kidnappings, abductions, Nnamdi Kanu's case. It must be very tough. Tell us the situation in your area. Like this video, share this video, click on join to become a full member, and there's another important video on the screen. Click on it and watch now."